was in fact not a divester. When I was choosing to entangle myself and deal with a white tea man, I did it surreptitiously. The only person that knew about it was my twin sister. I was never open about it, and some of my colleagues and friends on campus, but knew.
So, okay, first of all, I do make a distinction between divestors and those who are in happy, non-toxic, okay, interracial relationships. I don't believe just because somebody is in an interracial relationship that they are automatically a divester or a swirler. And by that, I mean women who are either like flirting with self-hatred and flirting with fetishizing white men or actively doing so. So I think they're like in different categories. Now, unfortunately, online, there's not a huge distinction. They seem to kind of just be merged together. Like the interracial relationship sector is almost exclusively toxic. I'm not saying it's always, but there's a ton of toxicity in it. So it just seems like the toxic spaces or the toxic narratives have kind of like superseded the more normal, balanced, healthy ones. But just because somebody is in an interracial relationship doesn't mean that they're like a self-hating, closet. They're not like a self-hating closet clan member, which is kind of how some of the divestors think and talk. So yeah.
I was aware, but for the most part, I never brought that man or...
Oh, I'll say this. It's also interesting though. It sounds like she has shame, which I think is really, really, really interesting with this, because it sounds like the fact that she said, white tea man, and she was very clearly like, I'm not a divester, and I didn't even bring him around. It's like, okay, so you kind of had some internal, it sounds as if she kind of felt a little shamed about that. No, I could be wrong. Maybe she'll kind of explain it, but I'm like, if you really like somebody, why would you hide that? You know what I mean?
I did it surreptitiously. The only person that knew about it was my twin sister. I was never open about it, and some of my colleagues and friends on campus, but was aware. But for the most part, I never brought that man or any of the men from my past to my father or to my family, because I believe that when you take great pride in the person you're with, then they have the honor of being brought forth to your home, your community, your family. The only person that's ever met my father was the man that I'm with today, because I found a man that I could respect. I love his charactership. I love everything about him. Okay, so, and let me make it clear.
Okay, so real quick. So I understand she's like, I'm not bringing somebody around my family unless it gets to a particular point. And I can respect that. I can respect that, and I can definitely respect that for sure.
I love everything about him. Okay, so, and let me make it clear that I've never aligned myself with the divester movement. It's anti-Black, it's anti-Black men. It's just not something I could ever get with, because I don't believe white is right mindset or mentality. I don't have a history of making disparaging comments about Black men in my community or just things like that. That's just never been something I've associated with. You can scour me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I can proudly say that, like, proudly. I was raised by a single Black father. I was raised by a man. I understand. So, and if I could be honest, one of the reasons why I had like cognitive dissonance, and the greatest reason I've ever committed was doing that act, because I don't think you can be pro-Black and date outside your race. Because not only when that dude or that man proposes to me, I'm marrying not only him, but I'm marrying his family. I'm marrying all of those things. And when I looked at that YT man, I just think about the family I'm giving our resources to, the progeny, and I'm like, no, the greatest and most revolutionary thing I could ever do is to procreate, choose, and love a Black man, which is my preference.
Okay, so she's talking about, notice she said that she was like, there was this cognitive dissonance, even though it didn't sound like the man she was with was, particularly horrible. She didn't mention like, oh, he was so rude or mean or racist or awkward or whatever, but it was just like, it's one thing to date a particular person, to have a moment or to try it out or whatever, or some people just want to have a fling, but it's another thing to say like, I'm committing to you, like we're going to be blending our family, we are coming together, we're going to be building a family, a legacy, we're going to be having children. Like that's a whole different paradigm. And at that point, you're not just marrying that person, you're marrying into that person's family and everything they represent and everything that their values, their thoughts, their beliefs. You know, you're marrying into a system. And that's not to say that you can't create your own system, because you can. You and that man can create your own system, your own family, your own household, your own beliefs, but you're still gonna have to interact with that. And then you're gonna have to reckon with like the history. What does this mean for your kids? What does this mean for their identity? What does this mean for you know, all those different things. And so there are, you know, there's social and political implications to that. Some people, it doesn't really bother them. They're just like, whatever. And some people, that very much is something that they consider and think about.
My preference. Like, why would I settle here? No, that's just not like, that's the most revolutionary, most beautiful thing. When I see Black love, I love and admire Black love. So why wouldn't I be with a brother? Because I don't think you just marry that one person. You are marrying that family, you're marrying that community, you're giving your resource set, and that's what these statistics are drawn off of. And that's a whole other conversation. But no, that was eating at me, and that was the cognitive dissonance. I know, like, I was raised by a father. This is not a man I can respect. I could not invite this man into my family. And like, no, no, sir. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely not.
So it was interesting because she said at the end of the day, it was like, she had her moment. I don't know how long or we don't really know how deep it went. But at the end of the day, she was like, this is just a no. Thinking about her dad, sounds like she was raised by a Black dad. And so that means something. She has a sense of pride in herself and her culture, who she is. She sounds like she loves her dad and respects her dad, which also influenced her dating choices too, which is not uncommon. And everything that I said that I agree with, as far as when you're in with somebody, you're not just like dating them. If you marry somebody, you're not just marrying them. Like, you are entering into a system, into a culture that has beliefs and thoughts and perceptions and history and culture and all of those things. If that matters to you, then you ultimately have to consider it. So, but yeah, I do think it's good that she makes the distinction, because I do think, unfortunately, there are people out there who are in interracial relationships right now that are, you know, healthy and you know, overall normal. I mean, like I said, no couple is like completely normal. Every couple has their own unique challenges, but you know, like I said, they're not out there promoting they're just not out there promoting anti-Blackness, or they're not out there promoting this weirdness or the whole soft light hypergamy scam. They're just living their lives. And unfortunately, they sometimes can be put in the category of the whole divester swirler propaganda. And, you know, that's unfair. I think the best way to kind of get away the best way to get around that is to try to speak against it and distinguish yourself. It's kind of similar to the Black woman, how the reputation of Black women online in the media is horrendous. It's anti-Black male specifically, because, you know, Black women love to talk about loving Black women, but it's very popular to hate on Black men. Like, that's extremely profitable business. So Black women also have a reputation online of, you know, not necessarily like the Black men. And then you add all the stereotypes of a lot of these rappers and celebrities or whatever. Like, so even in the Black female space, you know, you have some of us who've had to kind of draw a clear line and be like, I don't rock with that. Like, I don't rock with the toxic sisterhood. Like, I don't, with the toxic sisterhood narrative. I don't. So that's kind of what has to happen in that space. But I do agree, though, this whole conversation of like being pro-Black and dating outside your race, I'm like, on a basic level, to me personally, I'm like, the most pro-Black thing you could do is actually ensure that you exist. And the way that you ensure that you exist is to be with a Black man or Black woman and to create Black kids. To me, like, if that's really what is important to you. Now, if that doesn't matter to you, you just want to have love with whoever, okay, that's cool. But if you're someone who just like, oh, I am pro-Black, like I am about my community and I want to see it grow and thrive and continue, then to me, it makes sense for you to invest in ensuring that your community continues to exist. And the best way to do that is to have Black kids. Yeah, I don't know how to get around that. But anyways, y'all, let me know what you think about this whole thing. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Be sure to follow me on Substack, channel membership, and thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far. And we'll talk later, okay? Bye.